بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه اتبعوا الدعوة إلى يوم الدين وبعد. No, they mean the small chairs. جزاكم الله خير. جزاكم. Let's start, inshallah. Today, inshallah, we're going to be focusing on what's going on around us in the. We're going to be focusing on rulings, and it's part of the prohibition of the tongue too, just to learn and understand a few things that we want to discuss today, inshallah. First and foremost is the situation that is going on at the universities right now, from the from the strikes that are going on in some universities, rulings that are related to that, inshallah. We're going to be talking about all, inshallah, from Islamic perspective, and we're going to discuss both sides of the opinions on general strikes, protests, the rules that are related to it, and so on and so forth, inshallah. So a few things that we want to start off with and we want to discuss, inshallah. First of all, know that standing against oppression. Okay, let's wait for the sisters to settle, inshallah. The setting, do it 780. Is it? No. Okay, so know that standing against oppression and dhulm in general, especially siding with your brothers and sisters in faith, is an obligation upon every Muslim to do based upon his capacity or her capacity. Whatever we will mention today, inshallah, it all goes under one concept, something we studied in Usul al-Fiqh and the Qawa'id and the fundamentals that are very important to understand and to use now that it becomes, inshallah, very beneficial. First of all, supporting the oppressors, the oppressed ones, and standing against the oppressors is part of our religion. And we're commanded to do so in all means that we are capable of, without leading to more harm to ourselves and others, and at the same time is part of the deen. This is what you have to understand. قال الله عز وجل وإن استنصروكم في الدين فعليكم النصر. If they seek your support when it comes to matter of religion in any means, then عليكم النصر. You should support and aid them. And the Prophet ﷺ said, المسلمون في توادهم وتراحمهم. Believers, when it comes to connecting one another, when it comes to that peace and tranquility and connection between them and brotherhood, كمثل الجسد, like one body. إذا اشتكى منه عضو, when one limb or one part of your body aches, the rest of your body reacts. And I'm only going to speak about what's going on in the States now. Okay, so this could change from a protest to another. This could change from a cause to another. This could change from a place to another. And this is very important to understand. Based on benefits and harms and scaling benefits and harms. Okay, so this is what we will be looking at, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. Every country, every group of people have their way of representing themselves and standing up for what they believe is the truth. And there are means to do that. And those means sometimes do not have a one specified, explicit ruling. So what we need to understand is that the means, and this is the first most important fundamental or a legal maxim that you could use for today's lecture and built on it inshallah. الوسائل لها حكم المقاصد. The means takes the ruling of the objectives. The means takes the rulings of the objectives. What does that mean? We want to pray in Jama'ah. What is the mean to do that? You have to get ready. You have to walk to the masjid, yeah, or find a car to give you a ride. And then, correct? So walking to the masjid is a mean. The objective is to pray in Jama'ah. So praying in Jama'ah is, yani for now, at least either obligatory or highly recommended. The mean to get to that objective takes the same ruling. So walking to the masjid is obligatory. Walking to Jum'ah is obligatory. Okay? Why? Because the means takes the same ruling as the objective. All right? Walking to the masjid itself doesn't have a ruling. And walking to the masjid itself doesn't have a ruling on its own. It is connected to the objective. What you want, what's the intention, what's the result of that. Okay? Same thing here on the other side. If the objective is good, then the means is good and it's a sunnah or recommended. If the objective is evil, then the mean to it is also evil. Somebody who wants to, مثلا, their means to give zakah is to steal money, to rob a bank. Now, the ruling here is what? Haram, forbidden, because again, the objective is haram, all right? And the means to it, it will be also what? Haram. Even that intention is good, but the objective itself is haram. So that's what we want to look at today. Now, looking at protests in general. Protests do not have a defined rulings in Islam that is allowed or not allowed, or that is haram or not haram. And the people who always say that protests are haram, period, they're just looking at one aspect of it, which is the harm that comes out, okay, or being rebellions against the rulers. That's a completely different ruling that doesn't apply to us today at all, because we in the United States are not under Islamic ruling. So that part we don't even have to discuss. Can you rebel against a Muslim ruler or not? We're not going to even get into that. Because when you camp on campus, okay, when you do a general strike, you're not rebelling against any Muslim ruling. You're not going against the law of Islam, the Sharia, the legislation. So there's really no need to even open that door right now, okay? What we say is we're going to talk about the focus of what we should do now toward our brothers and sisters in Gaza and standing with the other universities that are doing the same thing. So peaceful protest, peaceful, and underline the word peaceful, because let's agree, if anything causes more harm or destruction, or it brings more harm to oneself or to his body or to his soul or to his wealth or to his deen, then it should be prevented. Or anything that causes destruction to a personal property or to a public property or a public benefit. So in a protest, just to put it as a rule, there is no justification to rob a store. There is no justification to steal food from a market. There is no justification to break into Macy's or Walmart or Best Buy. That property or to public benefit or property is what? Haram. Okay? So burning trees or burning houses or burning stores, like we usually see with some protests. I don't know what's the point. You get Nike shoes and we know what's the point of that. It's an open opportunity for people to make money because they want to buy clothes, they want to sell clothes. They're gonna get it and they sell it in the free market or somewhere. They'll make money out of it, or the laptops. For us as Muslim, this is what? Haram. Okay? Is that clear so far? I'm gonna go step by step. I'm not gonna rush into it at all. We'll get to that inshallah. So a peaceful protest that has a mean and a goal, and the goal supports justice, is what we are talking about today. The ruling of it is what we want to discuss today. A lot of people, they added peaceful protest or protests in general under the ruling of rebelling, and we already spoke about this. That's not always the case. Okay, what's happening now at the university is a representation from the students who care, from all different backgrounds, ethnicity, religion. They're coming together to stand up for the truth and to defend the honor of our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Palestine, and to show support and aid them in a way that they could represent themselves. Now, the first point, in the country we live in, is it allowed to do that? I'm not talking, do they allowed it? Because you have to differentiate between they allowed it and is it allowed. I always tell you this, and people, memory, now they're going to cut the recording again. Okay, memory put on a recording for me saying that I was saying that the Constitution is a handmade, what was I saying? Man-made, handmade, man-made. Then I said something about the Constitution. I didn't say not to follow the Constitution. What I meant by saying is that it's human made it. It reminds me of the idol of Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Remember, he said we used to make idols from dates, and when we get hungry, we would eat it. That's exactly what they do with the Constitution right now. You have freedom up to a limit that they don't want you to cross. So when they say freedom of speech, they should, in the Constitution, say freedom of speech except 1, 2, 3, 4. But they don't do that. But in reality, this is what happens. You are free to speak as long as you don't speak about 10 things. Where are the 10 things? Oh, they're not mentioned, but you're free to speak. But we will arrest you if you speak about it. That's the contradiction. This is what I mean by that the Constitution is human-made. Okay? We are supposed to follow the law of the land that we live in. And as long as it doesn't contradict anything that is part of the religion or doesn't contradict direct a rule of the religion. So now, is it part of the rule that people could protest and show freedom and have free speech? Yes, it is. It's allowed to a certain extent, okay, if people does it in a certain way. So we are taking the means that they allowed for us to take under the Constitution that they have set for every person who live in this country. So you're not breaking the law in any way or in any mean. Now, back to the default that we were speaking about. The means, al-wasa'il. The question is, will a protest change a circumstance or a situation that we are hoping for in general? And the answer is yes. Again, we're talking about which country? Right now, here. I'm not talking about Egypt. I'm not talking about Saudi Arabia. I'm not talking about Yemen. I don't care. All right? Because the harm that comes out there is way bigger than what you could even imagine. So here, the means that we are taking brings about public benefit. And the benefit that we do see an effect that takes place because of the pressure that people have upon the people in power to change certain decisions or certain rulings. And we have seen it throughout the time. Someone will say, but there's always harm. There's always going to be harm. Well, there is always going to be harm. Change is always going to have some kind of harm into it. We did not mean to cause harm. We never intended to cause harm. We're not interested in causing harm at all. We are trying to show ourselves to the people who have power to change that this is what we want and this is how we want it to change. And they are supposed to do what the people want. Isn't that democracy that people are always proud of? I don't believe in any of that, by the way. I'm talking about democracy and all that. I don't believe I told you it's a human made. So the changes is democracy is made for the people. What is it? For the people, by the people, for the people. But it's never for the people. It's again, it's politics. Politics plays a big role into everything. And if you don't understand that, then I don't know where you guys live. And we see it. Okay, we see it. So here, did some of the Sahaba? This is a good question. Don't shout out, okay? I'm not here for any of you guys to shout out anything that I say today, okay? No, you could shout. injustice. No, not this ayah. Allah said, stand against injustice, against oppression, even if it's coming from yourself. وَلَوْ عَلَى أَنفُسِكُمْ. Even if it's against your own self. You want to stop yourself from falling into that. So, is the cause here good or bad? Good. So the means to it will be good. Same ruling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى إلى آخر الآيات قال الله عز وجل إنما وليكم الله والذين آمنوا. We are supposed to stand side by side with every Muslim oppressed on earth, regardless of who they are, where they at, whether they're connected by blood or not, every Muslim. And this is a general ruling. So there is no prevention. There is no prevention of taking the means to changes if the changes are there. If we could notice the changes and they're going to be certain that we are certain about it, then the changes are there. So the means to it sometimes takes the ruling of obligation, because this is the only way to get our rights. If this is the only way, Gaza now has been under the attack for a few months, several months, since October. We're talking about what right now? October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months. Okay? 7 months. We have tried everything. We have tried to speak, to bring, to raise awareness. We have spoken about it. We have told the people. We have stayed in the streets. We have done everything. We have done what we can. This is also one of the means that we could take. We could approach. And the question here, that there are evidence that we could use, the overall evidence that we are in favor of supporting the oppressed ones. The second thing is that we have general evidence that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba and some of the Sahaba and even some of the ulama and others took those means in their life, because again, there is no defined statement. There is no defined statement that says that protesting is halal or protesting is haram. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu arda and Hamza radiallahu anhu arda, when they became Muslim, what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do with them? When they became Muslim, they were hiding in a house called Baytul Al-Arqam, Ibn Abi Al-Arqam, at 18-year-old in Mecca. The people of Mecca were oppressing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers. They were killing him. They were torturing them. They were insulting them. They were doing everything that you could imagine that is happening now in Gaza and Palestine in general every day. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lined up the Sahaba, 2 lines. One following the lead of Umar and one following the lead of Hamza, and they went out of the house of Al-Arqam to first time in history of Islam publicizing, okay, that they are Muslims and they're presenting their religion to the kuffar of Mecca. In a sense, we could say that this is a mean of presenting their ideology to the people of Mecca in a way that they would understand. In a way, I could see this as a protest. I could see Hamza leading a protest and Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu leading a peaceful protest. Again, let's put the word peaceful under, because sometimes we cause more harm by not following rules and overriding our rights, so that our enemies or the people who want to be against you would use it against you. So I always say that when you come to changes, remember a few things. Number one, the changes would not cause more harm. Number two, that there is a higher chance of certainty of the changes will take place. Okay? Number three, that you use your rights only and you don't override them or don't overuse them. Number four, always follow a structure, a strategy that gets you to your destination in a way that you do not lose or misuse the truth. You could have all the rights, but the way you present it makes you look weaker, like in a debate or an argument. Sometimes we lose a debate just because we're shouting and we're screaming and we're loud and our enemy or our opponent are so calm and relaxed, but they're not upon the truth. But when people see you shouting and fighting and screaming loud, they feel that you are weak. So they would disrespect the truth that you have, and they would not follow what you have, even though what you have is an ultimate truth. So be careful of these means. So this is one way that the Sahaba did it in Mecca. The question is, the people of Mecca them. They were tortured. They threw rocks at them. They caused them harm. So it brought them some physical harm, yes, but the changes were great. That more people who were scared to come out, and this is what happened. Subhanallah, every goodness that starts off with a group of people who are brave, okay, who have a strategy, okay, who are organized, who stands up for the truth, even if they are few in numbers. The first university that struck were Colombia. Yes? If they thought of only them, they were putting their education, their future on the line. Literally, they could be bombed out of school. They could be kicked out tomorrow. Khalas, done. If this group did not start, none of us would have even got the courage to. We always want someone to take that risk. But let me tell you something, wallahi, and this is very true. In Islamic history, it has always been that the scholars who stand up for the truth are the ones to be remembered more than any other scholar in history, even if they have more knowledge. If you remember the fitna of the Quran, the only one we call from that fitna is Imam Ahmad. Okay? Look how he stood with it. He lost everything. But people still till today call Imam Ahmad the Imam of the fitna. Meaning what? The Imam who stood strongly during the time of the affliction and the fitna by himself. Doesn't matter. It's not. So tomorrow's protest and on campus here in Davis, everybody is not aware of it. And I hope that why you all look scared. Okay, but anyway, there's something going on tomorrow. Everybody's looking at me. Yeah? It's actually tomorrow, guys. You guys are missing dates. May 1st is tomorrow. Yeah, believe it or not. Wallahi, tomorrow is May 1st. What is tomorrow? Is it May 1st? Okay, it's an open program that we need to camp all day there. How about that? Everybody's scared. Then don't do it. If you're scared of the outcome, if you're there is going to be outcome with it. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what it. Okay, it's not an attempt to protest. It's an attempt to raise awareness of what's going on in other universities. So why is UC Davis not doing what others are doing? Just question this. Okay, inshallah. That's good thing. They're not releasing information. Anyway, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ. You should prepare for your enemy what you can from all form of strength. Al-quwwa, the word quwwa, means any form, educational, okay, financial, physical, everything. You cannot just jump to the front line not ready. I tell Muslims all the time, and I tell you heard this from me in many khutbah. Number one, I said, we'll discuss it later. No protest tomorrow at Davis. Happy? So the first thing that we want the best Muslim doctor. We want the best Muslim lawyer. We want the best Muslim engineer. We want the best in our field, because we don't have ITs. We have ITs in Davis or no? like IT, yeah, like an IT, like a tech genius. We do have. Where they at? Oh, in the lab, not here. So when I want to find one, I don't find any. Why? Only Iman. But that's a problem. Because if you do not use your education to serve your deen, then there's no benefit. Let me tell you right now, wallahi al-azim, that degree is the first thing that is going to be taken away from you before your grave. You're not going to roll it and put it under. It's not going to do you any good. Is the outcome of that. If you do not use what you learn in this life to benefit your own religion, then there is no good in what you do. If you don't have that intention in your heart that everything you're learning in this life is to serve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah would not put any barakah into it. So Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala, and this is a very beautiful story that I want to present. Maybe Imam Malik was not known to be a rebellious scholar in general, okay? Yani overall. Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala, there was a story of two brothers in Medina. And their parents, they only had these two children, an elder child and a younger child. The youngest child was more obedient to his parents than the elder child. So the elder child got so jealous of his brother that he made a trap for him and he took him somewhere, and then he pushed him into a well of water till he died. So this is called qatlul ghila. It's like what is it? Like it is crime. It is a crime. It is a crime, but it's not okay. Well, just look at the translation itself. That killing, the only ruling out of it is no, jealousy is the cause. Is to take revenge from the killer. Okay? So he should be killed for the one whom he killed. So his parents came to the Emir of Medina and they said, we do not want our child to be killed for his brother. Why? Because we will lose both. They don't have a right to do that. Yes, they don't have a right to give up the blood of the son, okay, who was betrayed and killed, even though they are the parents. So the Emir of Medina issued a rule saying that it's okay for them they have the right to forgive. And Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala, what did he do? This is exactly, maybe this is what's happening tomorrow. Imam Malik left the masjid. Taban Imam Malik now. I am not leaving the masjid tomorrow, don't worry. Imam Malik, he stopped his classes. He announced that he's not going to teach anymore in Medina. He's not going to come out to a masjid and teach till the ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes place. So what did Imam Malik do, rahimahullah? Anyway, the ruler of Medina went after his opinion at the end, even though they tried not to. But people of Medina, I know you guys, you don't picture what I'm saying. If Imam Malik says, I'm not coming to a masjid to teach, I know Davis will find another Imam. No, in Medina, if Imam Malik says, I'm not coming out to teach, this is going to be a protest. People of Medina went out to the street saying, do what he wants, because we want him to sit and teach. We cannot risk that Imam Malik stop teaching. Nobody would accept that. So Medina, everybody in Medina said, what's going on with this? Why did you upset him so much? Just do what he wants. And Imam Malik said, Wallahi, I will not come out till you do. This is the ruling. So this is a form of doing what? Of causing a pressure upon the ruler to change certain rulings, and the people are with it. Al-Izz ibn Abd salam, this person was in Egypt. He was one of the greatest scholars of Islamic history. Okay? Anyone who's in politics and you have not read about Al-Izz ibn Abd salam, then get out of politics. Because Al-Izz ibn Abd salam has a beautiful writing upon a siyasa al-shar'iyya politics that are or legislative politics and all the rules related to that. Unbelievable. Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam, the ruling was that they wanted to issue a fatwa, okay, to force taxes upon the people. And we know that it is not permissible Islamically because we have zakah. So Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam said there is a way out. They said what? He said all the Mamalik, most of the people who ruled Egypt at that time, were originally slaves and servants. Okay? And the Mamalik ruled over Egypt by power. So they were owned to the country. They were owned by the country. So Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam said, I have a solution before you prescribe taxes. We could sell all of you in the markets, then get, يعني مثلا, one of the minister مثلا, they will bring him out. He's a minister, he's a royal, it doesn't matter, but he is what? Owned. He's mamluk, he's owned. So how much would you buy him for? People will say 10,000, 20,000. Then he will say, you know what? I'll pay 30,000, I'll free myself. So Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam said, why don't we do that? So they could, because taxes, I'm not going to talk about the rulings of taxes in the US right now, but you guys know that the rich people don't pay as much tax as the poor people. Yeah? That's exactly what was going on. Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam said, if we take money from the rich people through those means, we could make more money to support our need than applying taxes upon the needy. So they said, no, you're crazy. You want us to stand in the markets and sell our, you want me to, I'm the chief of command of the army. You want me to stand and say, Assalamu alaikum, how much would you sell me, buy me for? And get? Then, no way. So what he did, he took his books, his family, okay, and then he left. Some of the people of wisdom told the ruler, he said, if Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam leaves Egypt, I swear by Allah, this country is going to go through a lot of destruction. Such a person should not be removed out of Egypt, should not be kicked out of Egypt, should not leave the country, because he's someone that we need. He's a person of wisdom that if we miss, done. This country is done. So they ran after him. They brought him back from the desert. He was already halfway out. And they told him, just come back. We'll try to do what you want. And we'll try to figure a way around it. What did Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam do? Is exactly what the students are doing now in other than UC Davis. How about that? Happy now? Okay? In other universities, okay? This is it. He saw that word of wisdom, advice is not enough. So he took actions of changes that led to changes. If Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam just said, I don't care, khalas, what can I do? I already told them, they said no. He didn't stop there. Nothing would change. And he didn't harm anybody. He just said, I'm just leaving. This is all I could do. I'm just going to sit here and witness oppression and dhulm and say nothing about it. I'm not going to do that. I am going to do the changes. Not just that. Going back to the time of the Sahaba, we spoke in this class, I don't know, I'm sure most of you are here. We spoke about the fitna, the affliction between the companions. Remember that? What is the battle that came out of this? What is it called? Al-Jamal, the camel. What was the main cause before this battle? Revenge for Uthman. Ali ibn Abi Talib became the Amir al-Mu'mineen, correct? He became the Khalifa. And he took over. But then as Zubayr, Talha, and Aisha radiallahu anhum wa ardahum, they left Mecca and Medina, and they traveled asking for the revenge for the blood of Uthman. I know the outcome was a disaster but Ali ibn Abi Talib never told them that they were wrong. Yani, what happened was a problem, was a big fitna, and there were people who were trying to fire things up. And this by the way, what happens in almost in every protest that I have witnessed, which is few, to be honest, because I wasn't into protesting at all. I was among the side that says protest is haram, khalas, heck with it. Egypt is dangerous to go to. They tell you in Egypt, for example, they told us once you could protest in the 90s when after the killing of Muhammad Durra and all that, but they said you can't go to the streets because this is going to cause a lot of problems. So they opened up one of the soccer stadium for us to protest. They arrested everybody who was there at the end, but they let us scream. They just said, you guys want to scream? And instead of screaming in the streets, you could just scream here. And we were so happy to scream there, but then they trapped us. That's a mean to change. That's not a mean to change. Because you know the outcome is always the case. The outcome is always the case. In the States here, that's not the case. There is a lot of legislative rulings. There is a lot of politic rulings that do change because people are standing against it or for it. And this is a reality. Not always. I know this is not always the case. But look at the Columbian University. The other one was Detroit, yeah? Detroit was the second one? Which one was the second one? So we have few now. We have Texas now. We have Detroit. We have where? Northwestern. What is it? Yeah, we have so many. Alhamdulillah. Look at the changes. At first, everybody was against it, and everybody felt more powerful against those students. Today, they're backing off. Why? Because when we are 5 standing with the truth, we are looked at as little in number. When we are 100, we gain more power now, that people would respect that power and people would consider that power. And that's why truly I encourage everybody to come out tomorrow. Seriously. Standing together is not a favor. Standing together for your brothers and sisters is an obligation. Take all the precautions, effective means, peaceful, that you do not harm yourself and other than do it. There's really no prevention. To say it's preventative and the harm. And I want to read to you one of the most of the mashayikh who is against protesting. Okay? And the sheikh is completely views the ruling of protesting in a certain way. Okay? But I want to read to you this fatwa, and I'll tell you the name after I finish, because I know this is all going to be recorded. No, I have people who are waiting for it, meaning to cause problems. He said, ذكر لي, some people told me, أنه في بعض البلاد النصرانية الغربية, that is in some Western countries, لا يمكن الحصول على الحق إلا بالمظاهرات. That it's impossible to reach, sometimes it's impossible to reach your rights except by protesting. And some of those Westerns, when they want to defeat their enemy, they protest against them. And this is one of the means that they use, effective means in their country that they use. And in those countries, some Muslims do not reach their rights except if they take the same means. قال فأرجو ألا يكون به بأس. أما في بلاد الإسلام فأرى أنها حرام ولا تجوز. But in the countries of Muslim countries, I see that it's haram and it's not allowed. I'm not talking about the Muslim countries right now. This is Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen alayhi rahmatullah. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen was against protesting, period, like openly. Him and Sheikh Baz and others, rahimahullah. There are our mashayikh. We love them, we respect them. They are not knowledgeable, noble scholars. We know that they were not trying to please anybody. But look what he said. He said, these are effective means in non-Muslim countries. And they allowed it, meaning that the government itself allowed it as a means to change. So he said, if these are the means to take your rights, arju, I hope, ألا يكون به بأس. I hope that there is no problem of taking those means or these routes. This is someone who's what? against it. This is not someone who's protesting. But the wisdom of knowledge is to use the fatwa at a time and a place where it's more beneficial. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, by the way, just out of the topic, he used to say that even eating a slaughter meat by a non-Muslim is not permissible. Till he came to the States. He was treated from cancer, rahimahullah ta'ala. When he came here and he saw the situation of the slaughterhouses and we don't have as many slaughterhouses in the in the States by Muslims, and he saw the situation of people, and even he saw some of the stores. Someone took him to a store, I believe in New York or somewhere, and he said, "Look at the pound of meat here because it's halal. It's $2.99, and next door, just slaughtered by a Christian or someone, it's $1.99. This is a ripoff." Like Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen said, he changed the fatwa of the slaughter meat in the United States, in the West, but not back home. Why? Because he said back home we have 100 of slaughterhouses, thousands of slaughterhouses. We don't need to go to a Christian or a Jew to slaughter for us. Seriously, you have thousands of Muslims. You don't have that here. It's a reality. Knowing like the situation, Sheikh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, he used to say beautiful, whenever he gets a fatwa, like from Africa or somewhere, he used to tell the mashayikh, and listen to this, wallah, this is so beautiful. He used to say, listen, before you answer, remember you're sitting in an air-conditioned room and they're sitting under the sun. What does that mean? Different. Your circumstance, your life is different from them. You're sitting here, you're so cool, doc, you're just going to type a halal, haram. We have to look at their situation. So what is happening now at the universities? By the way, subhanAllah, I was so happy that the people of Gaza started the hope in people's hearts of changes, but today they're also feeling more hope to see that the people in the States are standing with them. The students are like that. It's a mutual thing. They started their patience, their struggle, their sacrifice. They're giving up on everything they have. They lost their children, they lost their homes, they lost their jobs, they lost their food, they lost their living, the minimum of living standard, and they're still saying Alhamdulillah. The students at the universities today who are being in the streets for days, in tents, they do not feel so much pressure or struggle because they have seen 7 months of more struggle under airstrikes day and night of students like them, people who are like them. So they're saying today, we're not doing anything. We're actually not, we're just supporting. We're sitting here, we have everything. We still order in and out with the phone. We could make a DoorDash order and the food comes to us. We're actually more safe. Yes, we might be living somewhat like them, but it's just in pictures, not in reality. And the people of Gaza, seeing the students in the United States doing that, the people of Gaza are writing now on their tents, thank you for standing with us. We have more hope now on moving forward. This is how things work. This is how we should encourage one another to stand for the truth. This is how we should support one another, because again, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ. Do you think you will enter Jannah? وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. To a point that the Sahaba were shaking. The Sahaba, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anhu arda, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu arda, or Mu'adh ibn Jabal was holding a certain ruling. And he was sitting on a tree. This was his cool off day, okay? Abu Musa al-Ash'ari came and he went against what Mu'adh was saying in rulings. Mu'adh said, Wallahi la anzil. I swear by Allah, I would not get down. Yani, from my position. And I'll stay here as long as I could. Till Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam judge between me and you and puts a defined line for us into this ruling. And he didn't come down. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu and some of the companions, when they became Muslim And this strategy was used against Muslims too. His mother tied herself to a tree, few days in the sun, without food or drink. He comes to her, he says, why are you doing that? She said, I'm doing this to torture myself so I could die. And if I die, people would blame you because you killed your own mother. And I swear I will stand here as long as you are upon your religion till you leave off your religion. What was she doing? Pressuring, okay, protesting in her way. She was pushing him to do something through a mean that she knows it's going to be what? Effective. This is how it is. So this is a personal opinion. This is a personal what? Opinion. This is a personal opinion. I said it 3 times. Well, we're off now. Why you mute? No, this is the most important part. You're gonna mute? No. This is a very personal opinion now. I believe that there are some protests that, and I will start with the ones that I believe that are some protests that are either not for the truth, for causes that we should not support or stand for because it's against our religion, or because of the announcement of harm, like people are telling you that we're gonna go and do this. For example, we're gonna go to the streets in San Francisco and block all the streets and rob all the stores in San Francisco. If their intention is to send that money that they get to Gaza, we're not standing with them. We're not supporting them. We're not defending them. We're not on their side. Is that clear? Now, if the cause is for justice, for something that our religion encourages, if the cause is to stand with the oppressed ones, to support them, to defend their honor, if the cause is to remove harm by what we can do, inshallah, from our brothers, and I already told you this many times, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described it best in the Quran. He called them عُبَّادُ الدِّرْهَمِ وَالدِّينَارِ. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ called them that in the hadith. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described that there are certain people who love money more than themselves. They love this dunya. وَلَتَجِدَنَّهُمْ أَحْرَصَ النَّاسِ عَلَى حَيَاةٍ. They care about any life, as long as they're living, even if they eat like animals, as long as they have food and drink, as long as their business is going smooth, as long as that, halas, they'll do that. Financial pressure upon certain groups is more effective than any other pressure. Wars might not stop them, okay? Even if everybody launches wars against them, they don't care. They're considered to be one of the most powerful armies on earth. But the financial part, when there's boycott of certain products, they back off. When there's financial harm, then at least they'll reconsider it. If this is the pressure that we could put upon them, if this is till today we're still boycotting. And I already told you before, with all the love and the respect to every imam, every scholar, every person here who likes or don't like McDonald's and those places, we are obligated to boycott these places. It's not an option no more. We can't joke about it. We're obligated to boycott those people who stand and support the genocide in Gaza. You're paying money for your brothers and sisters to be killed. You're paying money for your sisters to be raped. You're paying money for your children to be killed. I won't pay a penny for that. Wallahi, even for some Pepsi or Coke. What for? Alhamdulillah, to be honest, we live in a blessing. We have so many alternatives. You're not gonna die. Wallahi, you're not gonna die. Your kids are not gonna die if they don't eat ice cream for Baskin-Robbins. They're not gonna die. They could eat it from somewhere else. Allah will open. No need for ice cream, healthy wise. I mean, don't. Wallahi, there's no need. We have to take some actions. Now, blocking a highway. I personally would say don't. Why? Because we are stopping public benefit. We are causing harm to the public benefit. If we camp, okay, again, the universities who are camping now, so we don't get things confused. They're not harming anybody. And subhanallah, Allah, you know, subhanallah, there's still people who are dumb. They will live dumb and they will die dumb. Today we have social media. You all saw the video of the girl who was trying to call the police, and you're recorded by 100 phones. If you're stupid, play it smart. You can be stupid and play stupid. You'll be exposed. Yani, nowadays, with social media, it's very hard to lie. She was calling, she was saying, they're stopping me from leaving the campus. And she was moving. And they were telling her, we're not stopping you. Here you go. Just move, go ahead and leave. So on campus, I am 100% for it, honestly. And I feel the pressure that is putting on people today, people in power. At least they're considering discussing what's going on. But to block highways, okay, or to come to the streets of Davis and put some tires on the streets on Russell and fire the tires so cars can't go. There are people who are sick, they need to go to the hospital. There are people who have work they can't miss. There are people who are going to buy food for children, they might be in need. So we have to respect that and consider that. So if a protest or a strike or that's it, just nothing more, are peaceful, okay? Remember the three things we say. Number one, it has to be what? Peaceful. Speak and say, again, don't speak ill to, don't say things that they'll be reading against you too. I'm not talking about dunya, I'm talking about akhirah too. Peaceful. Number two, effective. Number three, remember what we said? We said we have to make what? Strategy. Effective strategy that leads to a result. If you have these things, then go for it. Okay? Taban, the haram part I can't discuss now because I'm not going to open up the door. We are non-Muslim countries. If I say free mixing and all of that, to be honest, I'm not going to be in a place where they play music and they're having fun and girls are dancing because they're protesting. That's haram. Whether they're protesting, whether they're dancing for a wedding, whether they're dancing because they got A's in all their classes, what is haram is haram. Okay? Sisters are going without the hijab and they're, mashallah, they're tanning from the sun, you know, I mean, and they're protesting, that's haram. Okay? What is haram? Define line. What is haram is haram. We're not going to participate in matters that are haram, even if the intention is pure and the result, again, you want to give zakah by stealing a bank? La. Don't do that. Yes. We already said we're not going to participate in that. We're going to participate. We could leave. Yes, we are only participating in the most effective part in showing numbers and support to our brothers and sisters, not to, because you might have some organizers too that you might not agree with, and I agree on that because we always have this issue, and it doesn't mean they're with us. We have to be with them in certain. Why are we saying we are for this cause? Because it is for Gaza, it is for Palestine, it is for a cause that we stand for religiously. But we're not going to go for LGBTQISDSWZWI, letters. No, we're not. No, we're not. It's haram. We're not. It is against our religion, period. But they stood with us and I don't care. What do you want me to do? Thank you? Okay, thank you. Done. No, I am very, wallahi, if you think I'm going to sit here in this place, I've been here in Davis and before Davis in many places. If you think I'm gonna compromise my deen for anybody or sell out my deen to please anybody, la wallah, I'm not gonna do it. I don't care if people are pleased or displeased. I don't care. What I care about is Allah. So what is haram is haram. If we have people today in Davis, if we have the MSA, not you guys, another MSA, just an MSA, which is what does MSA stand for? It should be a Muslim Student Association, yeah?
if they stand in the streets of Davis as Muslims, calling to allow alcohol to be sold in the markets of Davis, would we stand with them? Here you go. That's seriously, even if they're the MS, I don't care. It doesn't matter who we're talking about. The cause is what matters. So I'm not gonna put my hands into hands of people who have a rainbow flag on and stand and say, we support you till we die. No, we don't. You have your way, we have lakum dinukum waliya din. I'm very clear. But when people stand, if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said what? And this is why I say, I tell you, go back to the religion all the time, because religion has an answer for everything. Rasulullah, he said, Wallahi, hilfun fil jahiliyyah, law du'itu ilayhi fil islam la ajabt. Hilf al-fudul. Hilf al-fudul was before Rasulullah sallam. At the time, all the kuffar came together, kuffar of Mecca. They came together to make a treaty. The agreement here was what? The agreement was that we are going to support the oppressed ones, and we're going to prevent oppression in Mecca from people who oppress the weak ones, take their money, their clothes, and so on and so forth. We're going to stand together against anyone who oppress any person in Mecca. Rasulullah said, Wallahi, if I would to be called to attend, even after Islam, like while they're doing it as a disbelievers, I would attend. I would stand with them. I would side. I would stand and raise hand with them and say, I am with you. Because they're standing with the truth. They're standing for a good cause. Okay? But Rasulullah never compromised his deen. When they told him, worship our gods 1 year, we would worship your, what did he say? قُلْ يَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدتُّمْ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. Define لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. There are some time where you have to say لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ, and some time where we stand without compromising, inshallah. Any question about protest only? Nothing out of the topic, inshallah. Yes. Any question from them?
For the Columbia protest, there was with the deans that were not exposing. Now, they're not harming the public, but if they're harming themselves.
We already said that. If you're harming yourself or harming others by any mean, then you should not participate or join. But if you go out and the police arrest you just for no reason, just because you're protesting, you're not harming yourself. You're not harming yourself. The harm is going to be upon you by other than you. So you're fine. But if you're going to harm me, like for example, I cannot protest and fire my body. You know those people who, in heaven, they fire up their body because they want to prove something. Here you go, I'm in front of the White House, I'm all on fire. Stop the genocide. We tell him, no, we don't want your fire. Leave the genocide alone. Leave Gaza, they could take care of themselves. Why? Because you're suiciding, you're killing. This is haram. So in that case, no, that's not allowed. Khalas? Is that clear? Any other question about protesting or the ruling of that? If you're not here, listen to the recording, inshallah. I think we give, inshallah, detail on my stand on it. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give victory and support to our brothers and sisters in Gaza. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us as means to support them, as means to be on their side. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for the shortcoming of their support. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep our hearts firm upon His path. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Okay, so what is tomorrow again exactly?